There's this notion that is deeply embedded in the philosophy of the Enlightenment that markets work, right? Like that there is some sort of um, force that is external to all of us, right? Adam Smith, I think, calls it the hand, the hand metaphor. I forget what it is, but basically that there is some sort of external thing that's called the market, and that if you just let the market run itself, the invisible hand, if you left, that's what it is. If you just let the market do its thing, right? Just have buying and selling, that that things will work out, right? And the truth is that that possibly could be the case, except for we're humans. And if you start looking at just human behavior, right? The feelings, and I want you to just imagine the feelings that you feel on a regular basis, right? Like just simple things like fear or not wanting to be different, the being shy, I don't know, being over talkative, right? Like all these kind of things, these human behaviors that we have that are based on our own individual traits, um, make that metaphor or make that sort of understanding like kind of moot, um, in the sense that there's this idea of a perfect market. So what is a perfect market? Where you buy and trade, buy and sell a commodity, and if you start looking at it at a lot of things, right? That's the analogy that people want, is that you just basically have a commodity and you're buying and selling very easily. Um, the truth is that doesn't exist. And, at its fundamental level, I believe that's often because of human traits, like behaviors that we just do that make it very difficult, right? We're all very unique. And if you start breaking down, like just in terms of psychology, for example, you break down people's psychology, but also like you look at their genetics and where they're from in the part of the world, all those sort of basic things. You start looking at it, you're like, hey, people are really different, even if their roots, their genetic roots, are relatively close to each other. They're likely a blend of many different things, unless they're a highly, highly isolated tribe from many years ago, right? There's some of those, but those don't exist that much. So we're this weird blend, and so we have all of these really weird traits. So nothing is ever at its base is ever where we have a uniform buyers and sellers. And often, if you try to manufacture something, or it's worse with a service, if you try to sell it something or make something, you realize like everything is different, right? Even something that you think, oh yeah, you're making the exact same thing, right? Like a car. You're making the same make and model of a car. You're going to realize that those makes and models are very, very different, in how they're manufactured. Even when, coming off the exact same make and models that are coming off the line, there are subtle differences with all of them, which actually play out, right? Like, um, what I'm trying to say is this ideal of a market just does not exist. And I want you to look at anything that you would call a perfect market, and you'll realize that there is a whole bunch of individuals that are behind the scenes making that thing actually happen. This was one, like a massive enlightenment period for me when I went to graduate school. I took finance courses during my PhD, and I realized like finance, the perfect market, right? Like if you're thinking of, often we think of financial markets as pretty perfect, right? Like if you're trading, buying and selling on the Nasdaq, um, which is a financial market that is really